Wander Wealthy Podcast, episode 268. What is up, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of the Wander Wealthy Podcast. My name is Tess Wicks. If you are brand new here, I am the host of this show, founder of Wander Wealthy, and financial coach turned business coach for all my fellow money coaches, financial coaches, wealth coaches out there in the world. Whether you're brand new to this space or you've been doing it for a while and maybe you're looking for some inspiration, motivation, education, this is the podcast place to be. We talk all things building a coaching business, being great money coaches, and how to deliver in your money coaching business, as well as how to market, how to sell, find those clients, and some of the mindset stuff too that it takes to be ultimately an entrepreneur, build your own business, and serve your clients. And today, I wanted to speak to any of you out there who are even just considering becoming a money coach, because I know that this is a big step for you to take. I oftentimes forget how much courage it really takes to put yourself out there for the first time, to make your offers known, to talk about these offers, to even just like maybe before you even have an offer, like create an Instagram account or a Facebook group, or even just a post on Facebook where you want to, give some money advice or share your story or whatever it is. And so I know that if you're kind of in this major transition phase, and truly I think before it's an actual transition of going from like, I don't have a business to I'm going to have a business, it's a transition in identity first and foremost. It's a transition in determining I can do this, I can help other people, and I think I can call myself a coach. And if you're in this kind of place in your life where you're thinking you would like to help others and you would like to start marketing and selling and maybe even dreaming of this becoming potentially a full-time gig, then I want to share with you the 6 signs that you are ready to become a money coach. And some of these signs might point to the fact that maybe you already are a coach and you just don't realize it yet. So we're going to have a little heart to heart, and I'm going to share those signs with you so that you can embrace this identity and realize that you're going through an evolution and it's time to step up and maybe give you permission to take that next step, whatever that next step might be for you in this journey that you're on. So let's go ahead and dive in to the 6 signs you're ready to become a money coach. But of course, really quick, before we do, let me take a second to give you an update and also mention how you can continue to support this podcast and support Wander Wealthy. Because if you don't know, I am over 6 months pregnant now, and I will be going on maternity leave starting mid-September of 2022. How very exciting. But that doesn't mean that you can't still get amazing value from tuning into the Wander Wealthy podcast. We have so many very helpful episodes that you can tune into to get the support you need in building your coaching business. But we also have some things that you can make a small investment in for yourself. And there's even some free things here and there that you might be able to stumble upon. But let me tell you a little bit about how to find that, where to go, and again, how you can support this podcast, this brand, myself, as we are kind of taking some time off, but also support yourself by getting the coaching and the resources that you need, be it virtual, be it on a self-paced timeline, but still it's there and it's out there for you. So first and foremost, you can always head to wanderwealthypodcast.com. There is a ton of podcast episodes for you to browse through if you hit the little podcast link in the menu, and you can go through obviously there's over 200 episodes, and any episode starting from around 160 is going to be specific around money coaching and building that coaching business for yourself. So tons of material for you to dig into there. If you also hover over to the Work With Me tab you will see a couple different ways that we can work together. Obviously, one-on-one coaching is not going to be available right now, or at least during this, next handful of months of my life. I am taking a 6-month maternity leave, which is very exciting. But you can check out the resources tab, which has some fun, free things. Let's call them free. They're fun too, but some free things for you to get your hands on, as well as just seeing a lot of the resources that I recommend using in your coaching business. And finally, you can head to wanderwealthy.com and check out some of the other things we have there. We have the pricing formula, which is really going to help you figure out how to package and then price your coaching package in a very easy way, but that's also based on real data and numbers and your goals, and also understanding the product market fit in your industry. And then from there, you can access the Simple Sales Masterclass, which is my 90-minute all my secrets dumped into it masterclass on how to sell your coaching program. And of course, we have the client attraction content matrix, which is going to help you build an entire marketing plan and content calendar for well over a year, and really give you everything you need to know to be marketing with ease. And that content matrix, it's not just for Instagram. It's not just for Facebook. You can repurpose it and utilize it for long form content like a podcast or a blog or a YouTube channel, or the new age kind of content that we're coming about with, which is Reels or TikTok. It's rooted in foundational marketing strategy. And so if you understand all of that stuff, you will understand how to market no matter the medium that you are marketing via. So whether it's video, written, audio, what have you, the client attraction content matrix will be your secret weapon to being a marketing guru, even though you don't need to be a guru, but a marketing master for your very own business. So head to wanderwealthy.com. You can find all of those there. Wanderwealthy.com/pricing if you want to get access to the pricing formula. Wanderwealthy.com/content for the content matrix, or just browse around and, do some just-in-time learning. Take what you need when you need it, and it will be there for you to consume as you need it, and to help you and support you in your business building journey. All right, now on to this week's episode. So let's talk about the 6 signs that you're ready to become a money coach. Sign number 1 is you have some free time and a desire to spend that free time building a business. So I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. You need some spare time to build a business that you want to be serious about, that you want to turn into a business. And although, I can sit here and say, I can spend 10 to 20 hours a week on my business full-time, working full-time on my business, it doesn't always start that way. And so you do need a little bit more time. Now, I can also sit here and say that when I work with my clients through my signature offering, which is not currently available in its capacity at the moment, but stay tuned because something might be coming out in August. But when I work with my clients through my signature offering, which is the Wealthy Coach Blueprint, where I'm one-on-one coaching them through building their business and their life-changing coaching program, learning how to market and sell that, I do let them know that if you have between 5 and 8 hours a week, let's just go ahead and round up to 10 hours a week, but that would be like fairly excessive. But if you have that spare time to commit to building this business, you can do it. But you do need that time. And so anyone who truly doesn't have the time or the desire to do the work, I'm going to be honest, it's probably not the sign for you that you're ready to become a coach. So, I don't want people to be afraid of starting a business. And I do believe that if you put the appropriate boundaries in place for yourself, within your calendar, within your schedule, and you understand the vital few things that you should be working on, and you can separate that from the trivial many things that the world of of online business can distract you to work on. If you can find a separation between those two and really only work on the vital few, you can build your business in less time, but it is still going to take some time. So you got to have some free time, and you got to have a desire to spend that free time building this business, which some of it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to have a lot of fun experimenting and just like learning about all these new things, but some of it isn't going to be so fun. Some of it's going to be uncomfortable. Some of it's going to feel boring or monotonous and redundant. And you're going to feel, frustrated at times or just like way out of your comfort zone at times. But ultimately, the overall and end goal, the overall reward and that end goal is enough to have you push through spending that free time on this business. So 5 extra hours probably at a minimum per week. Everyone is different. Everyone is able to, put boundaries in place and spend their time differently. But I would say that would be the minimum to really become and build a money coaching business that's getting clients in the door, that has a marketing plan that is consistent and that is able to show up for potential clients and also serve current clients. Number 2, you've been giving free advice and maybe helping friends and family, most likely for free, and you're ready to have someone be equally committed to you. So if you've been working with maybe friends or family, or you're just the go-to person where people are coming to you for advice, but also you can see that because this advice or because this work is offered for free, you might not be feeling like you're getting the equal amount of investment back in terms of time and energy and effort from the person who's receiving all of your free advice, then this is a sign that you're ready to build a money coaching business. And because it's a business, now we're going to charge. And that's where we get that equal commitment back in return, right? When people are invested financially, they're also much more likely to be invested from their time perspective, but also emotionally, mentally, and all of that good stuff, which means they're far more likely to execute on what you're, sharing with them. And if it's for free right now, you're sharing it for free, that likelihood of executing is a lot less. But if they're paying for it, now they value it more. And so the likelihood of them then executing on what you're sharing with them increases more. And so if you're finding yourself at that kind of frustration point, or you're just like, hey, I'm the go-to person and I'm ready to be compensated for my time and all the research that I'm doing on the back end, or all of the knowledge that I've built over these years, then this is your sign. You're ready to become a money coach, and a paid and compensated money coach. Number 3, you have an idea, or maybe you would consider it an approach to money, and I'm using it very generally, money, but maybe it's debt payoff, maybe it's automated savings, maybe it's investing. But you have an idea or an approach that works really well, and you can see it working really well for others. And maybe it's working really well for you, maybe it's working really well for yourself, as well as a few other people that maybe you've been giving free advice to, who knows? But you can also see that it can work really well for other people too. And most likely these are going to be people that are similar to you, but maybe one step or a handful of steps behind you in terms of their having achieved their money goals or overcoming some of their financial struggles. But you're also excited to put this idea or this approach into a process and or a system in order to deliver it and teach it to others. So if you're sitting on an idea or an approach that feels unique and also well-suited to helping others, then you're ready to become a money coach. And here's the deal. A lot of people try other people's systems, try other people's approaches. And so then they don't feel like they are allowed to become a coach in order to teach these other systems and approaches. And there's a little bit of a gray line here. Obviously, you need to give credit where credit is due. You need to understand if that's something that you're allowed to teach, and at the very least, market and put in your marketing that you are going to teach that. As an example, and I'm not sure if everyone will be familiar with this, but there is a way of teaching about business finance and how to manage those business finances called Profit First. Now, Profit First is a book written by an author, Mike Michalowicz, and he also developed a business around this book and around this approach of managing money in a business to teach other people how to do that and how to help other people implement Profit First. So it is kind of his like trademarked name, obviously, of how to do this. But when you really break it down, the actual implementation of this is very similar to a lot of very basic personal financial money management systems, such as the cash envelope system, but it's just digitized. So it's a gray area because can I come out, if I'm not paying Mike to utilize his term Profit First, can I come out and market that? No, I cannot, because that is his proprietary information and material. If I am not personally paying him, I can't use that name, but he does have a way of being compensated for the use of using this title and also using the management strategy and system. So there is a way that you could like pay someone to use that, but not everyone who's come out with a way to manage money or a way to automate savings has, named it or like brought it some sort of white labeled curriculum that you can pay them for and then use in your business. And this is where it gets into gray area because there's also, just common knowledge or just historical ways that we've always done things or maybe financial professionals have always done things that then they take and pass on generation to generation. So it's a little bit of a murky water and you want to be careful here. But if you have, taken maybe a mishmash of different strategies, different approaches, different techniques, and you've really personalized it into a way that works for you, and you can take that and kind of put that into a process or a system and give it a name. And in this case, now you can name it because it's your own unique approach and idea, then it is safe for you to take out into the world. You can also, just speak a little bit more generally about how you want to help people with XYZ. And then if there is a named system that you're going to teach them, that's just not something you're going to be publicly marketing and using that named system in order to make money off of, basically. But it could be the teachings of that could be key stepping stones in what you're teaching as well, but you're not going to be resting on the marketability of those brand names, so to speak. So hopefully that makes sense, but really this is a very gray area and you just want to understand. And I think the best advice I can offer is like, balance the pressure of feeling like you have to come up with something totally unique and totally never thought of before, because the reality is everything has been thought of before, but also recognize that most likely you're kind of piecemealing some different approaches together to make it work for you. And in that case, now you've made it your own and it is yours to put a process and a system behind and then to take and name yourself and sell that out. Obviously, you can't take someone else's system, take it, and then just put a different name on it and then sell it. That's not cool either. So again, be smart, be respectful. But if you're sitting on an idea or an approach that's working really well for you, it has worked really well for others, or you can really see it working really well for others who might be a couple steps behind you, then this is something that is a sign for you that you are ready to become a coach. And I will add just now, because you don't have to like check off all of these signs to go, oh, now I'm ready to become a coach. So if number 3, having an idea or an approach, if you're feeling a little stumped by this, if you're like, I don't know if I'm there yet, don't worry, because the process of becoming a coach is also recognizing and being flexible with the fact that what works for you might not work for other people. And maybe we need to do some research and understand our ideal client base a little bit better to find an approach that does work for them. And then that's an entirely new approach and idea and process and system that you get to name and create and develop for them specifically, and then name and then sell on your own. So if you haven't checked this box, it's okay. You're still probably ready to become a money coach if you've checked some of the other boxes. But if you're sitting on something, then that's also all the more signs pointing to, let's get your business built. Oh, language is hard these days. Number 4, you are also flexible. Okay, so I was alluding to this. You're also flexible with the fact that the exact steps you use will probably have to be tweaked for others, because personal finance is what? It's personal. Okay. So like I was saying, you might not even have an idea, not even have an approach, but you have an idea for who you want to be helping, and you're willing to get resourceful and do that work to figure out the solution. But maybe you also have an approach that you believe will really work for others, and you're ready to put it out there. And then in the process, you see, okay, because this individual or my subset of people have this unique nuance about their lives, or whatever it is that might impact the way this process or system works, it's really just about being open and flexible to how you can tweak that system, tweak that process. So being flexible, which, I think is, a lot of us would like to believe we are, but if you're pretty staunch in your ways and you think, no, my way or the highway, then potentially money coaching isn't the best fit for you, because it's so personal. We oftentimes have to get flexible with it. And just a little sneak peek, next week, we're going to be talking about how to personalize your financial coaching. So if you're stumped on that, or if you're like, oh, I don't know if I can become a money coach because I don't know how to be flexible in that way, I really truly believe that my way is the best way, we're going to talk about how to get that done in next week's episode. So stay tuned for that. This does not mean that your financial coaching journey is over. Number 5, you're prepared. Ooh, this one's hard. But you're prepared for rejection from strangers and the occasional client disappointment. So this is the not so sexy part of money coaching and building a business, and also doing that business, is that there is a lot of rejection involved. And the truth is, anything you do that feels exciting, new, you've never done it before, and that is potential to have a huge return and completely change your life, could also be littered with rejection. And we're not just talking about like rejection from a single individual human being, but it might be an overall rejection to an idea or to something you were really excited about that you spent lots of time building, and then it just doesn't work. And so it might not be like direct rejection. It could be indirectly rejected because no one ultimately wants it. But there can also be some direct rejection. And, I would not call myself like a thick-skinned person who, can just like get rejected and move on really quickly. It definitely impacts me. But I guess I could say that experience will harden you up a bit. It'll also help you keep perspective that people are all coming from very different situations. And so you take rejection a little bit lighter because you're able to understand people a little bit better, in the sense that not everyone's opinion is yours to take on for yourself. And that's a really powerful thing to be able to do. But then, there's also there's the rejection part, and then there's also the occasional client disappointment, which also can oftentimes feel like rejection. It can feel like a rejection to your ideas. It can feel like a rejection to your process. Or just a rejection to this agreement that you've made with the client for them to do XYZ thing by the next time you meet, or whatever that is. it's just inevitable. It's a necessary evil. It's part of the process. We are in this business to work with flawed human beings. We ourselves are flawed human beings, and we're in this world to work with other flawed human beings on a very personal and sensitive topic, which is money. And there's bound to be feelings wrapped around that. And then a desire, or maybe you're coming from a very logical, analytical, this is super easy thing to change. And maybe your client isn't able to see it that way, or maybe they can see it that way, but when push comes to shove and it comes time to actually walk the talk, it's much harder to do, right? Easier said than done. And that's because there's the emotional component. There's the gut feelings. There's the emergency, can't think straight, got to do this right now type of reaction. There's so many more things built on top of what your client may be doing that is a disappointment to you, or may not be doing that then leads to disappointment, that your job isn't to, judge them for it or react to that, but seek to understand what can we do to make this better. And I think same thing if you're getting rejected by strangers, is not necessarily reacting or taking it personally, but seeking to understand, what could be happening maybe in their life that I didn't even recognize. And also, there's the kindness of seeking to understand. And there's also the realization that not everyone's opinion, what other people think about you doesn't always matter for you, right? It's the whole other people's opinion of you is none of your business. Sometimes it is, sometimes we need to take that feedback. Sometimes we need to work on ourselves and we can recognize when that is. Other times it's really not about you. And we can instead seek to understand, okay, this is just how the world is for some people, and let them go in peace. So you're prepared for this, but you also see that it's worth it to be able to see people change their lives for the better. And you get to be the facilitator of that. And that's what makes it worth it. And that's what makes you continue to push through. And I think early on, when you maybe don't have a client base that you're working with, this can be harder because you wonder, is this worth it? Am I really doing the right thing by putting myself out there and getting rejected? Or maybe you're just working with a couple of your newest clients and you're saying, is this working for them? And I'm really doing the right thing? But over time, you will see that it's worth it. And if you can at least imagine what that might be over time, and see that will pay off in exchange for the potential rejection from strangers or client disappointment, then that means you're ready to become a money coach. So there we are. That's a heavy one, but I also think it's worth it for me to be honest with you all in some of the realities of financial coaching that aren't all butterflies and rainbows, but also to let you know that that also doesn't mean that you're not cut out for it, because you very much are, and you can get through it. And if something feels or seems like it'll be scary or it's something you're not able to handle, I can assure you that you'll surprise yourself at how much you grow if you are willing to commit to doing this and to building this thing that is much bigger than maybe something you've ever built or something you've ever visualized your identity of becoming. All right, number 6, you have a 90-day patience timeline to see initial traction and a 6-month to year-long patience timeline and willingness to be consistent in order to see things pick up for true regularity. So let me break this down a little bit. Okay. Initial traction, that means, growing your audience in whatever marketing platform you're using, and also attracting some of your first clients. You need to have a 90-day timeline just to see that initial traction. And I call it a patience timeline because it's like you really have to have patience with yourself, but also this like undying willingness to be consistent in this space, even when you're not seeing that initial traction, because it can take time, but it will pay off. From there, I say a 6-month to year-long patience and consistency timeline to see things pick up for regularity. So what I mean by that is like, okay, once you get that initial traction, then you need to adjust your patience and consistency timeline for that next expectation that you're probably looking to hit, which is, for most people, whether you're doing this and looking to do this part-time as a side hustle or full-time, you need to have this timeline where you're willing to be patient with yourself and undyingly consistent with what you need to be putting out there in order to really see things pick up for regularity, meaning consistent income, consistent clients coming in the door, seeing proof and evidence that you can do this full-time or lucratively as a part-time job or side hustle. Okay, you got to be willing to produce content and, also deliver to any of the clients that you have attracted and converted. You have to be willing to do that consistently and with this kind of internal self-belief before you see those external results, without seeing those immediate results, right? So you have to, I think there's a kind of like a meme or a quote that I come back to a lot when I think about my clients, especially those who are brand new to the space. And it's this quote that's like, you got to be willing to write when no one is reading and post when no one is engaging and show up when no one is watching, in order to ultimately have people do all of those things that you want them to do, because it does take some time to build that initial traction and then to get in that habit of regularity and consistency in terms of what you receive. There is a little bit of a ramp up of consistent output to get there. And that's why it kind of brings me back to the first sign, which is having that time and having a desire to spend that free time on building your business. Because the reality is, the front end is the most grueling work, because you have to do a lot of these things without seeing those immediate results. So you got to have the time to do it and then the willingness to do it. And then getting back to the sign number 6 is having kind of a timeline of being patient with yourself, but also working diligently and consistently and just showing up and having this kind of unwavering internal confidence that the external results will show eventually. So those are the 6 signs. Were they heavier than you thought? Maybe you thought I was just going to be like, you help people for free and now you're ready to get paid for it. Or you've set up a website and now you're ready to go. But really, these are the things that you want to check. You want to check for, do I have these? Like I said, you don't need all of them. And maybe you're just excited to build some of them. Like maybe you're excited to build up that strength of being prepared for rejection, because maybe you don't know if you're prepared for it and you haven't, had an opportunity to put yourself out there in that way to get that rejection. And you're like, well, we'll see if this is what I'm ready for. And I just always come back to like, you are ready for it. You might not believe it. You might think, oh, I'm a softie, like I truly thought I was, and still am a lot of times, but you can handle it. You can absolutely handle it. So check these things. If you even have 1 or 2, it is a sign that you're ready to become a money coach. And if there's any way that I can support you along that path, head to wanderwealthy.com, check out what our offerings are. Make sure you keep listening to this podcast, new episodes coming out, but also go back into the archives and take a listen to anything that you really need to be hearing for yourself today. And I hope that that can help you get to take the first big step, whatever that might be for you in building your financial coaching business. So Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope this has been the sign that you needed, the nudge to take that leap. And until next week, I hope you wander wealthy.